Alright, welcome back to the build. This is part 5, I believe. It's easy to lose count. So, when we left you, we finished building up the main shock body. And now we've got to pour in the damper oil. Now, we're going to do that, and then I'm going to rest it in this handle that comes with the toolkit. Just so that we give it a bit of time for the air to come out. Now, it's saying later on you're supposed to use whatever's left for your reservoir cylinder. Alright, so we might speed this up for you because it's really exciting viewing, isn't it? Just moving this up and down, you've got the air out of the cylinder. Alright, so it's saying that we have to put some oil in this cap and then flick it onto the shock body. Now, I'm relying on surface tension to hold the oil in there because there's a tiny orifice there. So, hopefully, like I said, surface tension will hold the oil in there while that's sitting there, so it gives me time to put everything together and hopefully we don't make a mess everywhere. But just in case, I'm just covering the bottom with my thumb there. My other thumb, my finger. It's saying to just cover the larger portion. Now I can see an air bubble down there. Oh, we have got a tiny bit of oil coming through there, but I might just, now that that's gone through, a little bit more oil. I don't know if that's the right amount or not. We'll go a little bit more. What's the worst that can happen? You can only come out the other end, can't it?
Okay, it's future me here, guys. So in hindsight, what we should have done here is completely filled the shock body with oil and then completely filled the cap with oil and then assembled it. It would have been a little bit more messy, but that would have ensured that there was absolutely no air in the shock at all, so that when we put the hose on the shock, as you see later on, we get a lot of air we're trying to get out. The problem we had was there was all the air in the shock itself. So completely fill the cap, completely fill the shock, screw it together, and that'll save you a lot of time in the long run. Okay, back to past me.
Okay, so just a matter of flipping that over and winding that on like that. And that, now I've got a little bit of oil, but it wasn't too bad actually. Now I have to resist the urge to feel what the shock feels like, or to test it, like I usually do, because there's a hole in this end, and if I squeeze it, there's just going to be oil shooting out everywhere. So if you're building one of these and you're like me, after every shock you build, you need to test it. Don't do it with this one. Not yet anyway. Wait till you get your hose and your reservoir bottle and everything like that on. So that was step 8. Step 9, we're basically mounting what's left inside this reservoir bottle and mounting it to this aluminium plate, which I have everything here. Installing our hose. Now, so they ensure that silicon tube is filled with oil before attaching to damper. So basically they're saying get all the air out of the tube. We've got the tube here. I don't think you're supposed to, wow, that's a lot of tube. I'm just trying to find out if you're supposed to use the whole tube or you're supposed to trim it down to length, or use bottle and remaining damper oil from step 8. Remove cap from damper. Doesn't say anything about cutting the tube. So, and I never knew this. These bottles, these Tamiya damper oil bottles, the top comes out. I always wondered if you wanted to change your damper oil and you didn't want to just waste it and throw it out, how do you get it back into the bottle with this tiny little hole? Yeah, it turns out you can just take the nozzle out and you can probably get it back in that way. That's handy. Every day's a school day. Alright, so this part here, the BB12 they call it, tank cap. It just goes in there and apparently that doesn't leak. Don't know. That's just clipped in there. Okay, so I'm really just learning as I go here because I've never ever built this shock setup before. So bear with me. Tamiya do give you a little ring spanner here. I've got a drawer full of these things from various kits. So we just tighten up that nut there. And then you can see I've positioned the bottle so that the sticker's facing up so you always see it. I just thought that'd look a bit more professional. Bit of attention to detail. Alright, so and then you got to put right. See, this mounts on. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, it mounts upside down. All right. So that mounts on here. I'm just wondering, yeah. Might try and turn this. I might have done it up too tight. Try and turn this zip tie around. What do they call them? Nylon band. I call them zip ties because when you pull them together they go zip. Other people call them other things. And if I can get this all the way around here so that the tensioning block there, or the ratchet block, is basically hidden and out of the way, that'll make it look a lot better. And I need those flash cutters, mate, so I can cut this zip tie. Yep. Yeah, these are shot. These are really worn out. We definitely need a new pair of them. And have to install our tube onto there with another zip tie to hold it on. I reckon they could have given you a smaller zip tie. This one seems just a little big. But it might work. Again, I'm going to put the block facing away from where you can actually see it. Just tighten that up. Thanks, mate. I need another zip tie for me. Put the tube on the shock. Now, what I'm going to do here, basically just going to squeeze the oil through the tube. This is going to take a little while, but the more I do it, the more air will go into the bottle, and we should, you can see the air coming through the bottle. Can you? I don't know. We're slowly getting this tube filled with oil. Probably should have done this before I put it on the mount. Anyway. Okay, so that yeah, we were gone for about half an hour then, trying to get all the air out of this line. We still haven't got all of it, but that's as far as I'm going to take it, because otherwise we're going to be here all bloody day trying to get this air out. So now we have to mount everything to the rear axle. Hopefully once, well, it's not going to be driven for a while, but once it is once it does start driving, running around, the working of that shock might work the bleed the air through, which I don't think it will, because there's nowhere for the air to go. Like there's no bleeder in this system. It's basically a sealed system. So if there's air in there, it's always going to be in there. But the point is you want to get the air from here into that cavity there. But it might go, it might not. And if I leave that like that, it's going to introduce more air. So a bit like an IV, isn't it? Just hang on to that for a second. All right. So it's the stuff I need. 3B18, those are the two long ones. Right. Give me that back. That's what these two holes were for. That's why we didn't need to put bolts in them earlier on. Alright, hopefully the rest of the build is going to be pretty, well, painless. I'm trying to get the air out of that line. Yeah, it was starting to test me a bit. And also, Zach did find written in here, the silicon hose should be 250mm long. I totally missed that. So we cut it down to 250mm. Or 10-inch for our American friends. And it still took forever to get the air out of the system. Alright, so now this shock needs to mount in between these two bars here. Oh, we need thread lock. And now, see, this just backs up what I said. This being an anaerobic gel, that's been sitting out open overnight. And it's still a gel, right? It hasn't gone off. So don't panic about it sitting for a while. I'm just going to come in and do that really messily. And we have no cotton buds. Swell. I'll try and come in here and clean this up. Can you hold that, please? Just like that. No, just come in. No. That wire. No way a bit, thank you. Give that a wipe. Mate. I'm leaving this zip tie loose for now, because I don't know where everything's going to sit yet. So first I guess we should put the shocky together properly, put the spring on. Alright, just the spring and the usual collar. It's a bit silly. Everything on this rear end except for the plastic bottle and the silicon hose is metal, and they give you a plastic shock end. Oh, actually, wait a minute, I'll pause you for a sec. Oh, okay, false alarm. I have these aluminium shock collars, but because of my luck, they don't fit. So we're gonna go with the plastic one, which is a shame. Right, that's our shock. Now we can mount this in between the arms. I'm making things look really awkward here. It shouldn't be this difficult. Goes in the bottom hole, yep. Okay, strange. So both sides of these arms are threaded, I guess, so you can use them on either side. And because this is a moving part, you can get away with tightening up your first screw before moving on to the next one. So here I'm trying to push the screw through, but I just threaded, you idiot. Yeah, that's our shock mounted. This is saying to have the tube sitting something like that with another zip tie through here, and I'm going to have to open another bag. I'm going to come through this way so I can hide the block again. No, that'll do. Come through and tighten this one up. We do have that little air bubble there, but it might work its way out in use. Where's those? Right here. I'll get them. Don't move. Take over, panel. Stop looking. Alright. Next week we are going to the hobby shop. Buy another pair of them. Problem is, the hobby shop, we've only got one hobby shop in town where we live. Yeah, look at all the air coming through. Not as much air that was in there though. But that doesn't feel too bad actually. Yeah, I was saying, we've only got one hobby shop that I know of anyway. And they're actually quite expensive. And it looks like they might be closing down soon, so that'll be awesome. We usually get all our paint from there. If we can't get our paint from there, we've got to order it online, which is going to be bad. And we're up to 20 minutes. Well, that was a lot of mucking around just for one shocky. So, we're going to call it a video on that one. That's still a good looking, it's a weird looking setup, but I'm sure it works fine. We can add more tension on the spring if need be, but yeah, we'll muck around with that later when it actually starts driving. Alright, well thanks for watching. Next one we get to start putting the actual chassis together. Front shocks. I might do the front shocks off camera. They are a little bit involved. They're not exactly difficult to do. They just take a little bit of time, and it's building shocks, which is boring, so we won't let you sit through that. We're also going to do the wheels off camera because we have a video on how to assemble these 3-piece wheels, so we'll put a link into that when we get to it. And that's about it, so we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.